Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to talk to you about how to actually write a discussion for a research paper. So if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity platform to give back as much as I possibly can. There are so many people that helped me out that I want to pay the favor forward and help you out as much as I possibly can. So writing a discussion section is really difficult for all of us. We really struggle with this. There's two moments in a paper that I think most academics really struggle at. So don't feel bad if you're struggling at them. The first one is the introduction. It's really hard to sort of think about what you're going to write about. And then finally, the discussion section, which is, encompassing what the implications are or what you're trying to actually do. Sometimes we separate them at the end, but basically it's just the back matter at the end of your research paper where you have a couple of pages. Usually it's, it might be anywhere between 2 to 3 pages to 10 pages, depending on what the journal is or where you're trying to sort of write your, what you're trying to aim at in terms of what you're trying to do. But, it varies a lot, and, for the most part, there's kind of like a basic sort of formula and how to actually write these things, depending on what the limit of page limit is or how much text you're allowed to write. So here's some really basic tips, I think, and this is just after reading, I think I looked at my bibliography. I think I've read like 3,000 or 4,000 different papers now. And so I think I've got kind of a pattern in my brain. It might not be perfect, but it's very helpful for you. So what you kind of do at the beginning, as soon as you're done your results section and you've talked about your results, what you often will do is do some sort of restate of what the research question is or what you're trying to explore in the first paragraph. And then you kind of state why it's actually important to do that particular thing, why you're actually doing that thing. And so it's kind of like a very short synopsis of the introduction and sort of the basics of the paper. In the second paragraph or thereabouts, you want to jump right into it and give a really brief summary of the results in terms of what you actually found in the results section. So you're trying to actually summarize the paper in some sort of sense. You kind of summarize the paper repeatedly within a paper. And what you're trying to do is sort of give the reader of like, oh, this is what we found. This is what we did. And then in the third paragraph, what you want to do is sometimes you'll find things, and actually it's often, it's probably more often than not, that you're going to find things that you didn't expect you're going to find. And at that moment, you might want to discuss why maybe your results they didn't hold up. And so often at that moment, there's kind of a nice moment to take a deep dive into what other people found. And you'll find out that lots of people often find insignificant results or results that don't really quite make sense based on what you actually found. And that's where you do a lot of discovery. And often, if you do a really good job of this, papers are going to cite you for that particular fact. They're going to say that so-and-so did not find this particular finding, and we're trying to figure out why. And it often becomes a really important paper because of that, because of the thing that you didn't find. So don't get stressed out if you don't find anything in your results or something was really wacky or anything like that. You just have to explain it in such a way that it makes a lot of sense. And then there is going to be some sort of transition paragraph or a couple sentences where you're going to talk about the basic implications of this, and you're going to outline a basic, these are going to be implications for, generally it's going to be 2 or 3 different literatures, and you talk about those specific things in the next paragraphs, and that's where you actually outline. The title is basically future or implications for blah research or implications for blah, double blah research. Just taking it, really walking people through. And a lot of what making a good research paper is about is just being really boring in a lot of ways and walking people through it. believe it or not, it's actually really tough to do this, and we really, really struggle at that and trying to figure out what it is. And so when you write those implications, often what you will do in the implications, in each one of those implications, the 2 or 3 implications for, broader research, is you would give a sentence or two saying this is what previous research found, and then you say this is what I found, or this is how the findings that I have or we have completely changed the way that we actually looked at these, these previous results, or completely made us change what we were thinking about in this particular area, right? So now here's the thing, though. A lot of this stuff is pretty, it's pretty standard, but at the same time, it depends a lot on what you're going to do or where you're going to actually send this for a publication and what you're going to do. And then the other thing, just from my experience with the review process, it really depends a lot on who your reviewers are and what they actually say. Because sometimes you actually do all this kind of stuff and it looks like it's beautiful, and you send it in, the reviewers are going to say, why did you not say this? Or how come you didn't say that? And so you have to sort of change things and make sense of it going forward, right? So this is just a general overview, but it's going to be really specific in a lot of different ways. And in the top journals, and the ones that really, really matter and that we all read and we all like, there's going to be a lot more emphasis, particularly in our fields. In organizational theory, for example, it's going to be a real strong influence on this part, and that's what's going to make or break. Often that's what everybody's going to say. That's what makes or breaks a paper, is the framing at the beginning and then the implications and discussions at the end. Those truly do matter a lot going forward whenever you do these kind of things. So spend a lot of time on it in terms of making some real insightful things at that moment. It's not just kind of like a blah, blah, blah kind of thing. You actually want to spend some time and really think about what those implications are. It's a real struggle. But, I know you can do it, and we all have been there. We all do this kind of stuff, and we all struggle with it. So don't feel bad if you struggle with it. Just keep going and keep marching forward. That's all I'm going to say. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care, and have a nice day. We'll see you around. Bye.